What up, dude bros? I'm Frank. This is a video review of the Nerf Doomlands Negotiator. This blaster's in the Doomlands series. It's a hammer action, 8-shot cylinder, spring power blaster. Because nothing says, I'm here to negotiate, than bringing a gun. Included is the blaster itself and a few Doomlands darts. So I'll go over the externals and the basic operation of the blaster, starting up at the front. The front piece looks pretty cool, but it doesn't have any moving parts or operational parts from the user. Moving back to the cylinder, it holds 8 darts, and this cylinder system doesn't pop out of the blaster like the strong arm. It's fixed in place, but because it's so open in the front, it doesn't really help to pop out. So to load, you can just push in a bunch of darts, and again, the capacity is 8 rounds. Moving up a bit, there's an in-strike tactical rail, so if you want to put an optic or whatever, you definitely can. No rail at the bottom here, but there is a giant oversized grip for your left hand. Of course, if you're a right-handed shooter, or it just looks cool, you don't have to put your hand on it. The proportions of this blaster are obviously pretty weird, and this grip just kind of adds to that. It's definitely modeled to be sort of like a two-handed blaster. It looks almost too big to use with one hand, so this giant oversized grip lets you put your left hand here without accidentally putting your fingers up in the cylinder and disrupting its rotations. But no user-operated parts down here, nothing else to point out. The trigger is pretty normal. This blaster does not have slam fire. I don't know that Nerf has come out with a hammer action blaster that has slam fire. You can fan it, but because it doesn't work like a firearm, the spring needs to catch back and fling forward completely to get full power. So if you do fan, you're just going to be shooting off at like 40% power. We need more power! But up from there is the priming handle, or the hammer. This is a hammer action blaster again, so you can fire it just with one hand like that. This feels just like the hammer shot or the Lawbringer, the other hammer action blasters. I haven't had any issues priming it or anything. The prime weight's pretty reasonable, so you can easily do it with one hand. Getting to the grip, it does have a slightly irregular styled grip. It's not really what's contemporary or a traditional grip right now for like gun shells or whatever. This is more like a wheel gun from back in the day because it's, you know, hammer action, which is a little outdated. It's not really optimal for ergonomics, but you know, it fits the Doomlands series and all of that. Some people like it. I personally don't really care for it. That's just me getting really picky though. It is an oversized grip, so it's not like your hand's cramped completely inside some type of handguard or anything like that. It's good enough. Then a little further is a sling or a lanyard mount. It is worth pointing out on the shell here, they have this nice transparent side so you can kind of see the mechanics work. They've done that before in the Doomlands series, but then on the other side, just like other Doomlands blasters, it's completely opaque. Why do they do that? Because when it's sitting in the box on the shelf, you can't see this side. That's just marketing. Marketing, yay! Those are the externals. It is a pretty simple blaster to operate. You just front load like that, pretty easy. You prime it back and you pew pew away. One hand only. So firing the Negotiator, it works pretty much as expected. It works just like the other hammer action blasters of the past. I didn't have any jams or malfunctions to speak of, and it can be operated with one hand pretty easily, and a little bit faster if you use your offhand to prime. Although I put it up on my chronograph and I got an average of 59 feet per second, which compares to the elite norm of about 70 feet per second. So this blaster is shooting noticeably softer than other elite blasters on the market right now. So overall opinion on the Negotiator, because of the performance, I can't really recommend the blaster. It shoots noticeably slower than other blasters, particularly the hammer shot. Sure, the capacity is 8 compared to the hammer shot's 5, but this is a much larger blaster, and because of the weird, like this hand grip is pretty cool looking and it's stylish, but it completely kills it as a candidate to holster, unless you just have a whopping massive thigh holster. Something this big, it almost feels like it should be pump action, and that should be the pump. Otherwise, you can get rid of all of it to make it slimmer, but that's what the hammer shot is. So I understand why they designed it this way, so it's another option on the market, but I really can't see a place for this one. Furthermore, it totally looks like they just got the Lawbringer, put it into Microsoft Paint, chopped off the stock, chopped off the front end, and someone said, hey, it should be a little thinner. Okay, let's reduce the capacity from 12 to 8. That'll thin down the cylinder a little bit. Boom, new product. Let's take it to print. That's pretty much what happened here. Because you cannot practically holster the Negotiator, you might as well buy a Lawbringer, chop off the stock in the front end, and then you have more capacity for your impractically large pistol. If you're after a performance pistol, the strong arm, or you know, the hammer shot, which this is totally kind of just the tweener between hammer shot and Lawbringer. If you're like, I don't know which one, I kind of want both. This is kind of both, or kind of the worst parts of both. A fun little blaster that's pretty fitting for the Doomlands line because I don't think any of them are really war practical. The Elite blasters still have kind of the edge on all the other series right now, as just to-the-bones, function-based blasters that perform really well and don't have the extra gimmicky, like, giant handle here for a pistol. Yeah, so long drawn-out conclusion on the Doomlands Negotiator. Hopefully I provided everything you need to know whether or not you'd like to purchase one. I'll put a purchase link in the description box if you'd like to buy one. That's this review. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, stay tactical.